Students, now let us start with the next lecture. As I told you in the previous lecture, I'll be again dwelling upon some of the important stories that make up the Merchant of Venice. But before that, I'll be speaking about some other characters. So, we had talked about the main characters of the Merchant of Venice, and those were uh, Antonio, Bassanio, Portia, and Shylock. And there are some other characters also that are very important. Another character is Jessica. So, Jessica is the daughter of Shylock. Shylock, who is the Jew moneylender, and Jessica is the daughter of Shylock. And she runs away with Lorenzo, a young man who is a Christian. So, Jessica and Lorenzo. And again, mm, another character is Narisa. Narisa is the attendant of Portia, who is a very rich woman. So, Narisa attends upon her. So, she is her uh, friend also, and uh, she gets married to Graciano. Now, Graciano is a friend of Bassanio, and he has accompanied Bassanio to Belmont. So, Belmont is the place where Portia lives. And as we discussed earlier, also, Bassanio had specially gone to Belmont to woo Portia, and Graciano accompanies him to Belmont, and there he sees Nerissa, who may be called the maid of Portia or the attendant of Portia, and a good friend as well. So he falls in love with Nerissa, and both of them get married at the same time. Bassanio and Portia do. So there are two marriages, and another character is that of Launcelot. So Launcelot is a servant of Shylock, and he is very much um, ill at ease at the place of Shylock. Then he seeks employment with Bassanio, and he changes his master. So he leaves the service of Shylock and he joins the service of Bassanio before Bassanio sails towards Belmont. So Lancelot is there, and then Celanio and Celarino. These are again two friends of Antonio and Bassanio. So they appear in the first act only. Will be reading that. And another important character is that of Duke. So Duke of Venice, to whom Shylock goes in order to seek justice. It's, what kind of justice does he want? He wants that his bond should be honored. He wants that since Antonio has failed to pay back the loan, then that bond that Antonio has signed must be fulfilled, it must be honored. So, another, uh, the two more important characters, Prince of Aragon and Prince of Morocco. So they appear in the casket scene, in the casket story, and both of them try for the hand of Portia, but uh, they have to, as they have to participate in the casket test, in the test of caskets, both of them fail. Prince of Morocco also, and Prince of Aragon. And who finally wins As we all know, Bassanio wins that competition. So now these are some minor characters. Now let me dwell little more on the main stories. The Bond story, you know very well, the Bond story um, is the backbone of the entire play. It is the most important theme or story of the Merchant of Venice. So Bassanio requires 3,000 tickets, and he approaches his friend. Then they both um, approach Shylock for a loan, and Shylock um, he puts this very strange condition before them, and that condition is that if Antonio fails to pay back the loan, then he will cut a pound of flesh from the body of Antonio. And then the next is the casket story, and the casket story is set in Belmont. So there are only two places where the scene of the drama is set, and those two places are Venice and Belmont. Okay, so the casket story, as I discussed in my previous lecture, also there are three caskets, there are three boxes, and one of them contains the picture of Portia. So the father of Portia, before his death, he had ordained that the whosoever wants to get married to Portia, he should first make a selection of the right casket, and if he fails to the right casket contains the picture of Portia, and if he fails to do so, then he will not, then he will leave that place. There are many conditions. He will leave that place, he will remain unmarried for the rest of his life. So this is the casket story. The next story is the trial scene, so where Portia comes disguised as a lawyer. So trial scene follows soon after the marriage of Portia and Bassanio. Because Bassanio chooses the right casket, so he is entitled uh, to a marriage to Portia, and then, but soon after this, Bassanio receives the sad news, and he has to rush back to Venice to save the life of his very dear friend. And then the trial scene takes place, and Portia, with her intelligence, saves Antonio. So, and Shylock is punished. He is suitably punished. How? Half of his the it is now Portia takes over the role of the judge also, and she pronounces the judgment, and the judgment is that since Shylock has planned to take the life of a citizen of Venice, therefore he will have his property will be confiscated, and um, he will his property will be confiscated. Half of it will go to the state, and half of it will go to Antonio. So Antonio has lost all his money because all his ships have got wrecked. So then it is decided by the court that one half Antonio will have, and one half of the property will go to the state. And then it is ultimately decided that one half Shylock can keep, but before uh, having the right to keep one half of his property, he will have to write a will in favor of Lorenzo. So Lorenzo is the now he is the son-in-law of Shylock, and and so this is, and then Shylock is also he will have to adopt Christianity as his religion. So this is also punishment that is pronounced. And then the next is the rings episode. So rings episode, it comes at the end. So rings episode is, sometimes it appears to be a very superfluous scene. It appears that the scene may not have got added to the play, because it does little to take the story any further. But the rings episode is there because maybe now Shakespeare wanted to end the play at a on a light note, because the things had really got very serious with the trial scene. So it comes at the end, and here um, both here Portia and uh, Nerissa. So they take those rings from their husbands, and then they, when the husbands come back to Belmont, then they charge both of them with deception. So, anyhow, we'll be discussing this, the rings episode, and then the Lorenzo Jessica episode. So, Lorenzo Jessica episode is again a very important episode, because here, in the quite in the beginning of the play, Jessica runs away with Lorenzo. And now this is a very important episode, because it fuels the enmity, that is that it fuels the hatred basically that Shylock has for all the Jews, and particularly for Antonio, because Jessica has run away with the Christian. So Shylock starts hating Christians all the more, and then he becomes all the more rigid in the case of Antonio. He uh, does not want to show any kind of mercy um, to Antonio, because what Jessica has done has hardened his heart, and now he has no pity left for Antonio particularly. So now I make an end here, and will be starting with the text of The Merchant of Venice very soon. And I hope you have understood the story of The Merchant of Venice. Anything that you have not understood, please uh, feel free to ask me in the WhatsApp group. So now I make an end here.